In today's discussion, we're going to be looking at safe working practice in paddle sport activities. So this is your likes of your kayaking and canoeing. So the first thing we're going to ask ourselves, what is safe working practice? Safe working practice ideally means that you are working within a guideline set down by a governing body or working provider. It's important you stay within this, otherwise you may find yourself being prosecuted in court. So, the first two things we're going to look at is, are you qualified or are you experienced? Now, ideally for safe working practice, you need to have both, because at the end of the day, if you end up in a courtroom, again, you could be liable. So, what you want to do is find yourself a local canoeing or paddling club and get yourself some experience, get yourself some time on the water, whether that's slow moving water or fast moving water, or very sheltered water, or big open water. The second thing you want to do is get yourself qualified. So how you get yourself qualified really depends on what you want to do as an individual. So if you just want to work for yourself and be able to take people out on big journeys across open water, fast moving water, then you definitely need to have a recommended level from the governing body of paddle sports. However, if you wanted to just take people in sheltered water, you would have to go for a much lower level. Now, an interesting thing to look at is, so that would be if you're working for yourself. Another one would be if you're working for a company, that could be the likes of PGL, Acorn, Outward Bound. They could just give you in-house training which would ideally mimic the governing body standard. So that is safe working practice, because then you're both experienced and you've been assessed in some way, whether that's by a governing body or by somebody who is a senior figure at work. So now that that's out of the way, we're going to look now into what comes next. So for safe working practice, you're going to have a good idea of where you're operating. You're going to have a wide venue. You want to have a very nice big selection of venues, so you're going to want to have some shelter locations, some fairly open locations, and locations that offer both. You also want to be able to go there multiple times on your own or with another member of staff and assess the situations, because then you're able to bounce ideas off each other and work out what might be a good day and a bad day. You might be able to figure out how that environment might behave in a storm or in nice calm conditions. You want to have a good selection of venues. Now you've picked your venue, so now let's do a risk assessment of the venue. So what I mean by a risk assessment is we want you to look at this with a critical eye and identify things that may cause harm, whether that's to yourself, the group you're with, or the equipment you're using. So do a risk assessment of the area. Once you've assessed all the risks, you then set up your emergency procedures, your operating procedures as well. So emergency procedures would be, if one of those risks do occur, how do you solve it then? How do you perform first aid on that person? And then you'll come back and you'll reassess that risk. You might find yourself actually just looking for another venue in some situations. And then your standard operating procedures would be following guidelines you and your company or you and your partner set up. So that might be stuff like your ratios, what equipment you use, just very generic things. So we're going to now move on. We're now going to assume we've done all that. So now it comes to you're taking a group out in a month's time. So in that month you should double check your risk assessment, your operating procedures, your safety procedures, your emergency ones. You want to make sure a couple of things are done first. You want to make sure you've got first aid training. You want to make sure you've got all the group information. You want to make sure you've got any medical history, very important. And that should ideally be it now. But on the day, this should happen. So for safe working practice, you should follow this as a gold standard of what to do on the day. So you're going to meet your group, you're going to check they're all okay, they've all eaten, they're fully prepared, they've got appropriate clothing, warm clothing if they're bound to get wet. You're going to make sure they have food, plenty to drink, any medication that they may need throughout the day. And then once you've double checked that, you want to move into handling the boat. So how you handle the boat is you follow a nice simple rule. If it's bigger than you, it takes 2 to carry or 2 to handle. And so how you handle a boat or carry a boat is 2 to it, and then you're going to bend at the knees and lift it. You're not going to bend at the back because that is not safe working practice and you will cause yourself an injury over time. So you're going to do 2 to a boat and you're going to bend at the knees, very important. So once the boats are loaded, they're going to be strapped down, make sure they're nice and secure, and then you're going to get some kit. So that might be a dry suit, a buoyancy aid, a helmet depending on where you're operating in that day, paddles, a kag. If you are going kayaking, it's possible you will have, oh no, what's the word? Oh no. You will have that black thing that stops the water from coming into the kayak. You'll have that. It looks like a dress. It's not a dress though. And moving on. So you've issued the kit. You've put the boats on. So now you're going to travel to the venue. Now in this time, you can be asking yourself, how can I find out if these people are okay? Just ask them simple questions. How you're feeling? Have you all got food? Very simple, generic stuff that you would have at an island really. So once that all sorted, you arrived at the venue. So now, again, we're going to get the boats off. So again, 2 to a boat, bend at the knees, give them direction on where to place the boats. Once that's done, find them a suitable area to get changed. If there's females in the group, give them the opportunity to use the van or whatever vehicle you use to travel down in. Okay, so we're all changed. We're about to get on the boat. Thus, instead of jumping into the boat, quickly discuss what's going to happen now. Tell them where you're going, where this journey will take them. Maybe introduce some skills, what they'll be using, what they'll learn today maybe, some objectives, some outcomes. Then let them get into the boat, but don't just let them get into the boat and just paddle out. Give them a boundary. Tell them you're only allowed in between this marker and this marker for now, and explain why. After that, give them a couple of minutes to get used to being in whichever boat it is, whether that's a canoe or a kayak. Give them plenty of time, and then get yourself on the water. Now, the journey starts. You're going down, let's say the River Dee for example. You're going down, you want to place yourself at the, well, where do you want to place yourself? Do you want to be at the front? Do you want to be in the middle or do you want to be at the back? It's really your decision. But best practice would have you, wherever you are positioned, just constantly keeping everybody in view and checking they're all okay. Is anyone shivering? Is anyone struggling? Just double check everything. Once the journey's over, you return back to the start point. Load the boats up, dekit, head back to your operating base and pack all the kit away, sign it all out, talk to whoever you've been on the water with. So it might be a co-worker, identify what went wrong, what went well, and just make any minor adjustments you can to your operating procedures, risk assessment, or details of that venue. And ladies and gentlemen, if you follow all of that, which I just briefly discussed in about 11 minutes or so, that would be your safe working practice for your paddle sports. Thank you for listening and have a very nice paddle session. Goodbye.